when I like really started writing songs for the first time, I was like deeply obsessed with Weezer and the Strokes, and I
Nice.
still am. And I feel like no matter what, like that just like is in the seeds of how I play and write songs. Even if I'm like consciously trying to write in a different style, I think it's still there.
Nice.
And like all that stuff, I was thinking about this today too with you guys, because I think Everclear was one of the first bands I got into, and so that's like also in my brain.
Yeah.
And like Oasis and any like sort of 90s rock, basically, when it comes down to it.
Dystopia tonight. Dystopia tonight.
Hey.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. Hello. You're like, I come in peace. What's going on?
Nothing. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. Hanging in there, you know, bracing for
it's
the
so
next
funny.
wave.
Yeah. It's so funny because I remember when you and my mom started doing shows together that she would always be like, oh, you got to meet John. He's like your big brother. And like we didn't meet for like years, right?
Yes. Yeah. We had talked like on Twitter, like social media. I think that's where we kind of talked.
I think so, yeah.
In general, because I think at one point I just did that awkward thing where I was like, hey, your mom says we'd be friends. And you're probably like, oh, I don't know. But no, we got along right away because we both, you know what it was? I think the Scrubs connection. We're both huge fans of Scrubs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I would like
I
post
love,
about that
I love
shit.
it.
Oh, the best fucking show, dude. It's like one of my top 5 all-time best shows.
That was another one. As though I've already started talking about this. This was one that I rewatched like in its entirety during the pandemic again, where I was just like, I need my comfort shows.
Yeah,
and that was one of them.
Yeah, definitely. I used to when I would go out on the road, I would have. I think I had the first, second, third, and fourth seasons on DVD, which you think would just be enough. But I did. I used to just wrap them together, throw them in a backpack. And then I'd have my laptop or whatever, and like after shows or whatever, instead of, you know, fucking like every other comedian does, I would just watch Scrubs in the hotel room. And yeah, it would be great though. I would use it as comfort because it gets lonely on the road, so it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of nowhere, Scranton, fucking Pennsylvania, where like, you know, either everybody's already pregnant or they're running a train that doesn't go anywhere. So Scranton.
I love how you went to Scranton, and one of my comfort shows is The Office. And Layne's other band, right, was Layne Montgomery Paper Company.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's another comfort show for me.
What are your what's your top 5? What are your top 5?
Wow.
I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Strictly like comforting during
comfort shows.
Okay. Then Scrubs, Office, 30 Rock.
Ooh.
Probably Sunny too.
Oh,
and
it's a brilliant show.
I don't know. No, last spot.
Last spot, man.
Oh, Community.
Oh yes, Community's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Dan Harmon's a fucking genius. That show is great.
Agreed.
Mine's kind of weird.
So basically, the NBC lineup when I was like in high school.
Yeah, he's like, it's must-see Thursday for me, baby.
Yeah, I remember like I was such a dork in high school that I literally would not make plans on Thursday nights. I'd be like, I gotta be home to watch these shows.
Oh, dude. Like we had anywhere to be on a Thursday night in high school.
Yeah.
But I'll give you one even better, dude. Mine was Friday nights. I remember the longest time. Like Friday's like the optimal night to go out with your friends, and I'd be like, no, TGIF, Sabrina, Boy Meets World, Step by Step. Like, no, it's my jam. I'm like, and I'd be like, tonight they're all gonna do a crossover episode where Sabrina goes back, and my friends would be like, you want to go see a movie or something? Like, please. We don't know. Yeah, that was
like, there's a great party this weekend, and you'd be like,
yeah. Do you know what day it is? Yeah, I think my top 5. It shifts every now and again, but it's Scrubs, Dick Van Dyke Show, Futurama. Love Futurama. Parks and Rec. Now I'm getting to the fucking last spot. Now I'm like, what do I like here? Oh, I don't know, man. I think maybe Firefly.
Oh wow!
Which is one season, but I just love Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk and all those guys and sci-fi shit. So I was like, all right, I'll do this time. But yeah,
we're talking about my mom a lot, which I'm sure will happen throughout the show. But my parents love Castle, and I think over the pandemic, it was recent. I can't remember if it was right before or during the pandemic. I finally got them to watch Firefly because they love Nathan Fillion, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's so good!" And I was like, "Yeah, I've been telling you."
That makes me so fucking happy. I love when people love Firefly, and now that I know your mom likes it, I'm gonna text her and be like, "So episode 3."
Yeah.
Oh man, those are great fucking shows. Did you do a lot of like comfort shit during the pandemic? Like, or did you like try to stay creatively functioning during the whole thing? Like, was it half and half? How'd you handle it all?
Yeah, it was like half and half. Before we made the record, I was like pretty good at like giving some time, probably like once or twice a week, to be like, okay, let me sit down, try and write or rewrite songs. And then once the record was done and there was like no goal, and we finished it in November. So like right when it got really bad, that was when it was like, okay, I'm staying in bed and watching TV and movies all day.
Once it was done, you're like, and I'm out.
That's to do. Yeah.
Was it something that you had started beforehand and then you guys had to put a halt on it because all this shit happened? Or was it you were like, hey, we got a lot of time, let's just fucking write?
A little of both. I mean, like, we had some new songs ready. Like, we probably would have made a record last year anyway, but obviously not having anything to do and just more time to rehearse and write, I think helped the process along, you know.
That's cool. And it's got to be fun having bandmates to keep you going too, because like without, I mean, I didn't have like comedians, you know, us, we always like work solo or whatever, and if there's nothing else going on for a while, when it's just you and your brain arguing over whether or not you should work or not, usually not working wins. So I was like, you know what, it's already 3. You've wasted the day thinking about it. So
once we got like end of last summer, once it was like the rate was pretty low in the city, we got a rehearsal space, started regularly rehearsing, testing, you know, like once or twice a week, wearing masks, doing it as like safe as possible. But like, even that like 3 times a week routine in the middle of having absolutely nothing else to do, like put me like in a much more focused place.
Nice. And the Extremely Loud and Incredibly Online, which I fucking love that title. That's a brilliant title. Was that like a kind of a nod to the how everybody's lives changed, or did you guys have something else in mind for that?
I worked in a bookstore for a while, so I like always wrote down dumb puns based on book titles.
Nice.
And so like I love that Jonathan Safran Foer book, and it was just like in a list of titles, and it felt like appropriate for the album, appropriate for the time. It's like that type of title that everyone like just chuckles when you hear it.
Yes.
Or hopefully. I mean, everyone I've told it to, and I don't want to get too full of myself.
Yeah, it really makes me laugh too, because I was looking up your stuff beforehand like a couple of weeks ago, and I saw that, and I was desperately hoping that wasn't just a song title and was the full album title, because I'm like, this is so great. Like, it has to be the whole, and I was happy to see it was the whole album. What bookstore did you work in?
I worked at Postman Books, the one at 30 Rock and the one at Chelsea Market. Yeah.
Nice.
It's a great bookstore if anyone's in New York.
Yeah. I also worked in a book. This is another parallel between us. I worked in a bookstore as well.
Right. I forgot about that. Which bookstore do you work at?
I worked at Walden Books. Which
wow, nice.
Can't go there. It's gone. It went out of business when I was in high school. But no, yeah, I worked there pretty much all throughout high school, whatever. I fucking loved working at a bookstore.
I worked at a Borders right out of high school that closed a year after I started working there.
Yeah, the Borders were the first ones to go, and then we knew the Waldens weren't like far behind. Like, I remember, like, I didn't care about any of it because I was too young to give a fuck. But I also I heard, like, you know, I like the people that I worked with, and they were always being like, "Oh, the Borders is closing down. That means we're gonna be going." And I was like, "Cool, better start stealing books." Just kidding. That didn't happen, but it was. I used to
never stole a buck.
No, I never did. Yeah, but I used to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I used to take the magazines that we'd have to rip off the covers of them or whatever because they didn't. I don't know if you guys had to do that, but
you can't return them, right? There's like something about returning them. Yeah,
and why give them to the needy? So like they would make you swing out back and like toss them in this trash compactor dumpster thing to really make sure that no poor people could ever get their hands on them. They were like, not only are we throwing them out, but we're gonna crush them. But I used to call.
God forbid they're entertained.
Yeah, exactly. I used to call one of my buddies and be like, all right, hey, listen, I'm throwing out the trash at like 4 because it would also be all the like Playboys and like top 10 magazines. So I'd just hurl a box of them into the backseat of his car and he'd be like, drive away. Good luck, sir.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty genius. He was the one who was like, you just throw them away? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, can I come and get them? And I was like, yes. And that's how my life of crime started. I'm just kidding. Oh God. So what? So you guys all got together. You said you got together safely and stuff like that. You worked on the album, and whatever. Was there ever a point where you like, are we gonna actually get to play these songs like live? Like, you know what I mean? Like, did you do a lot of online stuff, or were you like, are we just gonna release this album and never get to fucking play this stuff?
I mean, we kind of kept it like we kept pushing it, so we hoped we'd be able to play it live.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's coming out at the end of August, and
yeah,
I think we're gonna just miss the second shutdown, hopefully. So yeah, I mean, it feels like a very like live and rocking album, so we want to play it in front of people. Of course, the thought came through my mind. I every creative person, performer that I know like was like, we're never doing this again.
Yeah,
and who knows how much longer we're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, I know, I hear you, man. But before, like, do you feel comfortable doing this kind of like playing online for people, like kind of transitioning that over? Because it is like it's an awesome like album, like you said, and it is made for like a live audience. So is your band in general. Do you feel like you guys would try to make the transition to do it digitally if you had to? We
talked about it. It was kind of like no one seemed super into it. Yeah.
No one ever
sometimes
any online stuff, you're like, okay.
Yeah, some ideas get shot down pretty fast in the group chat. So we didn't really talk a lot about it.
No, I hear you, man. It's fucking. I feel like at least
have you guys done any shows back?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I did. I've done a few. No, it's fine. I've done a few in New York, at Greenwich Village, comedy club or whatever, and it's cool because they're checking backs cards and shit. I did one out in New Jersey last night at Jenks on Point Pleasant Boardwalk, which is nice because they're like super well ventilated. They've got these like, it's literally like right off the ocean, so all the back is open. There's like a patio and like you just feel the ocean breeze coming in, and tables are separated, so it was fun. And it's fun being on stage, like not having, first of all, I don't know, I feel like every comic is either full of shit or lying to themselves or whatever, but like you do at a certain point after not doing something for almost 2 years, you're like, I think I'm out of the business, or can I do this anymore, or whatever it is. But it was great, like just getting back on stage and going like, oh, okay, I remember this shit. But it was fun, man. But I feel like that's about it. I had to cancel a show tomorrow because the place had a 30+ COVID outbreak, and when I called to see how they were handling it, they were like, just business as usual. And and I was like, oh, okay, well, then I'm not fucking coming. So that was the end of that. But I'm doing like a corporate gig in September. I've got all these dates through like September and December, and then. But now it's like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you guys had to were you guys like doing live shows right before this happened and then had to cut it off, or like were you on tour? Like what was the deal with that?
We were playing on the city a lot. We were working up the like new material, just like, nice. And I remember specifically March 7th, 2020, we played in a loft in like the middle of nowhere, Brooklyn. like 50 people packed into like an industrial loft, and it was like right when we were like,
oh man,
we were still like, haha, this is like where we're gonna get it, right?
Right.
And then like days later, everything shut down.
Yes. I love that everybody has that. Everybody that we've had on from either musicians or comedians had like a day where they were like, I can't believe we're all in the same room going to get COVID together. And then like the day after was when they shut everything down. They were like, fuck, I think we're all going to get COVID together.
There was like a very clear moment when it stopped being a joke,
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
But for like that month up to it, it was like, haha. Oh, I coughed. What's
Yeah, you're like, what are you gonna do about it? Here's the mic. You hand it off to somebody else.
I remember like a week before, we were at a poker thing, and one of the guys was wearing a mask, and we're like, look at this guy wearing a mask and gloves to a poker game. What a weirdo. And then you're like, well, the world just shut down a week later. And I'm like, that guy was a maven. He was well ahead of his time. He knew exactly what he should have been doing. And it's funny because I asked him what he did for a living, and he was a flight attendant. So like he saw it coming.
God.
Like he knew it was coming in.
One of my buddies, by the way, like when he saw you were coming on, because I want to talk about some other stuff that you've done and you're known for. He was like, how the fuck do you know Layne Montgomery? And I'm like, so I go through the whole thing, and I'm like, this is how I'm like, how do you? And this is somebody I went to high school with, and we're still close. Like, was one of my best friends, and he's like, he does the theme song to this podcast that I like. He's like a big like podcast steward or whatever, and I was like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, yeah, they talk about him all the time. So was that the first time you've done like a theme for somebody, or like how did that come about?
Yeah, so it's the podcast Blank Check with Griffin and David, which is a film podcast. And Griffin is a friend of mine, and he just asked me like on a whim, like now 5 or 6 years ago, for a theme song, and he needed it like the next day, if I remember correctly. And so I just like went home and did it. It was when I was still living with my parents, and I did it on, my dad's computer in like an hour. Nice. And then the podcast, like, blew up, and it has a lot of fans. I actually now live with the other host, David's brother. We're roommates now. Which was a nice fun, like, just happened because we, small world. And then like, it's a really fun community, and like it's big enough that I've like met people. Like there was a guy who worked at the bookstore with me who was like, wait, are you like the Layne who did the podcast theme song? And it was like, yeah,
nice.
Like it's like that big now where it's like people know it. And they said my name like every episode for a while. So like people just know my full name.
Oh, that's so great.
Which is fun.
Yeah. That's
and then when we did this record, we recorded the theme song as a band, and so now it's not the garage band demo anymore, which I'm happy about.
Which one are they going to use though? They got to go with the classic, right?
There was when they changed it, and then I remember seeing a comment online that was like, I don't like this version as much, and I was like,
everybody, yeah, man, that's a problem. 5-6 years go by, everyone's used to the one that they know.
Yeah. But
so tell me a little.
The community is great.
So your dad's a musician. Is that how you?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
He just always had guitars around the house. When I was a kid, I was like really into baseball, and so initially that was where all my focus went. And then Green Day put out American Idiot when I was like 12, and then me and all my friends just went all in to playing music and learning Green Day songs exclusively for a while. Awesome. And like he never had me take lessons or anything, but just having someone around who like knew what to do.
Right.
I'd be like, hey, how do you do this? And he'd be like, here you go. And I'd be like, okay, cool.
Go back in your room.
Yeah.
Jam out. Did you ever go on like gigs with him and stuff?
No, we've played together on stage before, but
nice.
Not often. Yeah, that's actually, now that I think about it, yeah, we should play on stage together more.
I'm glad I could bring you two together, honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, you're bringing families together.
Yes, that's what I do here. It's why I set this up. I bring your
and then
father
you pull
in.
him up, and he's in the next window. He doesn't know how to use Zoom.
Hilarious. I was like, he slides in another box. I'm like, Layne, your dad, Layne. That's so cool though. That like growing up with like two parents who were like like gigging and shit like that all the time too. Like, I can't imagine. You were were you a latchkey kid?
What? I don't know what that is.
Okay, I'm old as shit.
You are old as shit.
Yeah, that was. I hate when I give away. I mean, obviously the face, but like I hate when I give away like certain key phrases where people are like, what is that? Tell us about Cheers. Yeah, it's like a latchkey kid is like, you know, like when somebody who would like come home and like they would, you know, they had their parents would be gone, but they had a key like hidden and like they'd undo the, you know what I mean?
Well, they used to wear like the key on a string around their neck.
Latch, like a little latch.
Oh,
like, pop it up and let yourself in. Yeah, I just meant like if your parents were out gigging or whatever.
I mean, someone was usually home.
Oh, that's.
I don't think they trusted me enough with a key.
I could see that. What was it? Did you like growing up with like parents who were entertainers?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I didn't realize like how different it was until I was older, you know?
Yeah, that's the best.
But to me, it was just like, yeah, they go and they perform, you know?
Yep. I know. I feel
your
like
your parents don't do that?
Exactly. I was going to say, I feel like it's always better when you're like older and other people tell you that your childhood was weird. And they're like, none of that's normal. And you're like, oh, really? I feel pretty great about it. You're like, oh, too old to get made fun of for it. So that's was there like somebody that you guys like Green Day, you and your friends or whatever, but was there a type of music other than Green Day that you kind of emulated? Because I feel like every performer has that kind of thing where they kind of model themselves like subconsciously after somebody else, where you're like, oh, I kind of sound like this group. Was it strictly Green Day or was it some other people?
When I like really started writing songs for the first time, I was like deeply obsessed with Weezer and the Strokes. Nice. And I still am. Mm-hmm. And I feel like no matter what, like that just like is in the seeds of how I play and write songs. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm like consciously trying to write in a different style, I think it's still there.
Nice.
And like all that stuff, I was thinking about this today too with you guys, because I think Everclear was one of the first bands I got into, and so that's like also in my brain.
Yeah.
And like Oasis and any like sort of 90s rock, basically, when it comes down to it.
Dude, same thing. When we started doing this podcast, I think, was it you who was like, are we just going through 90s? Because I was like, I want Everclear. I'm going to get Third Eye Blind's coming on. I've been talking to the Gin Blossoms. And he's like,
Counting Crows.
Dude,
bumping around this town.
Fuck. Yeah. I'm a huge, I feel like I'm a huge Counting Crows fan, right? Like that's like my band. I know nobody. I've told people this, and they're either like, "Who are the Counting Crows?" or they're like, "Oh, that's nice of you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I think he's like one of the best lyricists, dude." But they're really hard to get. I could not get a hold of his people or Adam's people or whatever, which is bumming me out. But I don't know why I just confessed that. I'm like,
I don't know why either. Like I was just going through.
Yeah. I'm like, Layne, can you make it happen for the love of God?
You know, it's funny. All the other bands you just mentioned, like Everclear, Gin Blossoms, Third Eye Blind, I feel like have been reappraised now by my generation. And everyone's like, wow, like all those bands, like Gin Blossoms are great, blah, blah, blah. Except for Counting Crows. That is still.
It is insane to me. But you know what's crazy? Their new album is getting like, fuck, now I'm defending them. Their new album. I'm just going to cut all of this out. Their new album is like really getting like high praise. Like I think the one that they came out with the like a couple, like maybe like 5-6 years ago or whatever, was like, oh, it was all right. Like they came out with a new album. People were like, you know, good for you guys. And then this one, the Buttersweet Miracle, like they got written up in like a bunch of music magazines and stuff like that, like high praise from critics and stuff. And they were like, which is interesting because I actually I like a couple songs off it. Not my favorite album. So I was like, there's a goddamn fucking twist, because they're like, Counting Crows are back and blah blah blah, sustainability, and I'm just kind of like, pretty good album, but have you heard Satellites? So that's the end of that. But yeah, no, I wish your generation would fucking get on that. That'd be nice.
I'll see what I can do. I'll talk
could you whip them up?
All the people I know on music Twitter. I'll see if we can start reappraising them. Because that's the thing. Is literally like a week or two ago, a friend of mine on Twitter was like, "Man, next year every band's gonna sound like Gin Blossoms. Like we're all gonna get behind Gin Blossoms again." And like everyone was like, "Yeah, Gin Blossoms fucking rule." So
that's awesome.
You just got to know the right Twitter accounts.
I would love to get on that Twitter because I'm on all the hateful Twitter accounts where it raises my blood pressure. It makes me wish I was no longer here. So if I could get on those, I would love to get in on those conversations. I saw the Gin Blossoms live and they were fucking awesome. Actually, coincidentally enough, I saw them at Jenks. They were doing, like, for some reason they decided to do, I think it was like a venue that they had done when they were younger. You know what I mean? So like they were like, we loved this place, and they wound up just booking a show at Jenks, and we went for my friend's 21st birthday, and they like fucking crushed it, blew the roof off the place. But what was funny was they were like, we're gonna play a new song, and when they would play a new song, people would just turn to each other and be like, so next weekend, are we still doing that camping thing, or we're not gonna anywhere you go, and we're not gonna go? So I guess I can imagine the struggle for that is kind of hard. I love the Everclear story though, because your mom told me that for the first time when I had Art Alexicus on, and that was like, how big of a moment was that for you?
I mean, that was huge, and I was like 10 or 11. I mean, it definitely, thinking back on it, could be like the first time I was on stage, like in front of people, and it maybe planted seeds somewhere.
Oh shit, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, just like, you always remember when one of your heroes is like nice to you, and you always remember when one of your heroes is mean to you.
Dude,
but that's always gonna have a soft spot for me for Everclear, because he was like so cool, and I was 10. And then I don't even know if she told you this, but like afterwards we were like walking through the casino wherever the show was, because I grew up in Vegas, if for people who don't know.
We're gonna get into that.
And like this dude, extremely tatted up dude, comes up to me afterwards. He's like, "Hey, you were the kid who was on stage." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "When you want your first tattoo," and he like gave me a card. And I still haven't taken him up on that, you know? Maybe I should.
Yeah, you should, dude. If you still have the card, go for it. That'd be fucking amazing.
I think you should wait till you're like 60 and then contact this guy. Feel like I'm ready.
Do you remember me?
I've been holding on to this.
When he turns 60, he's gonna be able to go on an ice flow to like with one of the last remaining. Like, if there's a tattoo parlor open when Layne turns 60. I don't know. Everything's getting dark in this episode. I'm like, we won't even.
If anything is open, that's 30 years. You know, we got some time.
It's not bad.
Yeah, we're gonna turn it around.
Yeah, your mom told me that you got to meet him afterward too, right?
Yeah, I don't. She says I did. I don't really remember it. I think I like just like that moment on stage. I think there was like a like handshake or something on stage, and cool. Like thank you, but I don't think there was like a conversation. Or maybe there was. I was 10 and I don't remember anything.
I could totally, because like, you know, I know your mom so well. Like, I could totally see her doing the whole like bodyguard thing and like lifting you up in her arms and just kicking people out of the way and uppercutting them to get you to the stage. Like, that's just fucking sick, man. Your mom's the best.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Now let's talk about her.
She's right here.
Yes, let's talk about her raising you in Vegas.
Yeah. That's another thing where like I didn't realize it was weird until people told me much later that it was weird to grow up in Vegas.
Yeah. I feel like you and Jimmy Kimmel have that in common, and that's it.
Yeah, my childhood friend Jimmy Kimmel.
They met backstage at an Everclear concert.
Yeah.
Makes total sense.
Small world.
Yeah.
No, it's just the thing I always say to people is like, it was pretty suburban, pretty normal feeling, but like if you wanted to go see a movie, you went to a movie in a casino. Like there's no standalone movie theater. It's just like in a hotel, you know? And like any sort of fun kids activity is in a hotel, more or less, like in a casino. So there'd be like, you know, my dad would go gamble and I'd go bowling, or like, but you didn't think it was like weird or anything because that was just what life was.
Right.
And when I look back now, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a strange way to do it.
Yeah. But it doesn't go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, were you like in Henderson, like right outside of like the main Vegas area, or were you like in Vegas?
We were in Spring Valley, so we were like right outside the Strip,
Gotcha.
but like basically in main Vegas. Yeah,
that's interesting. That's got to be such a crazy. So, how old were you when you moved out? Were you like in your teenage years? Were you still in Vegas? We
moved back to the city. Well, back for my parents. They both grew up here. We moved here right before high school, so right when I was 14.
Oh, nice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's for so long, like Vegas represented innocence to me, like in childhood, and I've since been back as an adult, and I realize that it doesn't represent that for a lot of people.
Right.
But it's still like, yeah, I just think about like being a kid and like, you know, everything running around and having fun playing baseball, you know.
That's badass though, that you can literally just be like, yeah, I grew up in Vegas when I was younger. Like, it's fine, no big deal.
Then I moved to the only other city that's probably open just as much, New York City. From Vegas to New York City.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much almost the same thing. Was there any stuff that you remember, like, do you ever get any like weird sketchy situations basically where you were like, I'm gonna go into the casino and see what happens? Like, or were you pretty a good kid?
I was a really good kid. I like the like DARE program worked like on me, and I was like, I can't drink or do drugs, like it'll kill you, for like so long. And like, no, I never felt a temptation in Las Vegas.
Wow.
But then when I went there as an adult, the first thing I did was get like a yard long margarita. So I feel like I made up for it.
Yeah. You had to beat that. I'm gonna let the DARE program know that they got to one of you. So that's pretty fucking. I remember we had a DARE dance, which was the dumbest fun. Oh, dude, DARE was so heavy in my. I don't know if they were funding us or what, but like we had a DARE themed dance, and I remember the dude who used to come to talk to us about drugs and shit was just like there with this weird woman that he brought, and I was just like, is she in trouble or is she his wife? Like, none of us knew what was going on. But yeah, it was like we had like a huge DARE, because I went to school in Seaside Heights, which is the Vegas of New Jersey.
True. They have a lot of arcades.
They do.
Yeah.
They basically do. And like all the kids were shore trash. So it's like everybody needed a DARE. Like you needed a DARE program. But I lived in like Arizona. So it was weird. We went from Arizona to New Jersey. I was born in Brooklyn, went from Arizona, then lived in Arizona for a bit. I was living with my parents. I was 4. I was between jobs, but like, so we went from like there to, it's hard to get work when you're 4, in your own place. And, but yeah, and then moved back to New York for a little bit, and then Jersey. But yeah, so it was like really weird when I got here. It was like I don't know, Arizona was like Mormon-y and like kind of eerily religious, and then when I came here, it was like 3rd grade, and they were like, dude, like Erica was doing drugs behind the slide, and I'd be like, what are drugs? Like I was the same way, where I was like, what are, do they all slides have them behind them? No, get out of here.
Yeah, literally the first party I went to in New York when I was 14, there was a kid sniffing hand sanitizer because he was like, yeah, it'll get you high if you just like snort hand sanitizer. And I was like, whoa, like this is not anything like what Vegas was.
I'm not in Vegas anymore.
Yeah.
That's great. Was it weird seeing your mom on TV when you were a kid?
No, again, that like it just like felt normal as a kid. It wasn't really until later where I was like, yeah, again, like your mom's not on TV also. Oh, that's weird. And then like I remember also there was this time in Vegas where our baseball team, our little league team, got to be on TV, and I was just like, oh, it's so easy to be on TV. Like everyone's on TV all the time.
That's fucking awesome. I feel like you like that had to be just incredible because I feel like you've got a naturally thick. Like she passed the comedian's thick skin onto you, so I feel like you're one of those dudes. Because I've met you like a couple. You seem pretty unflappable.
It's good that I seem that way. I don't know if it's true.
Inside, it's all tears. Yeah, but that's what you come across. You know, you got that kind of air about you from like, you know, I always wonder if that was like something that your mom passed on to you or like, you know, kind of just toughened you up a little bit. Because she, when we went to the special, the second one that she did, she talks about you predominantly on that special, and I every now and then I just like look over at you and you're just like, it's fine.
Yeah, and I was there with my girlfriend at the time and a lot of my friends.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Great.
It's it's fine.
No, it's totally fun. Did you ever think like maybe you'll take a crack at like when you were growing up, or was it strictly always music?
She, when I was a kid, was like, "Don't get into comedy," and then like as I got older, I was like, maybe I should try it, and she was like, "I warned you," so I like never really did it. I've like had thoughts about it, but I don't know. I've spent so much time on music. I don't know, to pivot to another difficult career.
Yeah, man. It all feels like every time I look back, I'd be like, I would never do it again. Like as much as I do enjoy it, I'm like, this was long. I'm never satisfied. So it's always terrible. Do you incorporate, like when you're doing live shows though, are you one of those people that like comfortably talks to the audience?
I'm trying to get better at it. It's never been my strong suit. I like to say just like one or two. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be funny on stage. I don't know if it lands. I tried to be funny on this record a little bit more than the past albums. I like tried to incorporate, like even from the title on, like I tried to incorporate like little jokes.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Hopefully that comes across.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And the album cover is perfect too, dude. Are you on whose roof are you on?
It's our friend Christina who took the photos. She's a great photographer. Awesome. And it was just her roof, and she took a lot of like really nice digital photos, and then we got like the one washed out Polaroid, and everyone was like, yeah, that's the one.
That's sick, man. That's great. Who came up with the Great American Novel for the name for the band?
That was me too.
Wow, nice.
I was reading. It's all me.
Yeah. You're like album name, jokes, songs. That's great.
He's like, I actually took that picture. That was a selfie.
And those are all me on the cover. No, I'll do
he's the Bugs Bunny of this album. He's like bass, guitar, vocals, photographer. Layne.
I'll do the nice thing and say the band is amazing. All my bandmates are amazing. They really made everything a lot better.
Awesome.
Anyway, if they ever listen to this, they don't like to listen to me do promo. Anyway, yeah, the book, the Philip Roth book, The Great American Novel, I was reading it when I started the band, and I was just like, oh, that's the name.
That's perfect. Yeah, it's a great name.
And that book is not it's not a good book. It's one of his worst books.
This is the best thing that could have happened with that book.
It's true.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so what about you? How did you guys like wind up meeting, like you and your bandmates?
Aiden, the drummer, he and I went to college together. He's been in the band for like 10 years now, basically since I started it. When we broke up for a little bit, Aiden stuck with me. That's when we did like Layne Montgomery Paper Company. And that's when Steve, the bass player, came aboard. and he's been with us now for like 4 or 5 years, probably. Time's all weird now since the pandemic.
I know. Oh.
And then Ian, the lead guitarist, he joined like 2018, and that was like right when we were like, we were reviving the Great American Novel, and we had done some recordings with the old guitarist, and he just couldn't do shows. So he was like, guys should meet this guy Ian. He could play all my parts, and that's how he joined. And now, like, I really feel like it's the best it's ever been. Everyone, like, the vibe is great, the sound is great.
Awesome.
The band chat is very toxic. It's very mean.
Wait, do you guys like shit on each other or just everybody else?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Oh,
and
nice.
Everyone else.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's where the thick skin comes from. If you guys got a nice little group chat thing going, or you're abusing the shit out of each other every week. So what are you guys like? Because I know like I think we talked a little bit about like having to promote your band now and stuff like that, and having to get yourself out there. Like, how are you guys at doing that kind of stuff? Because I know it's a like for me, and I feel like it's probably the same for you too. I never wanted to do any of the social media shit. I just wanted to be on the road and fucking packing a bag and listening to music and traveling with a friend, and then getting to a gig, getting paid, going to the next gig. I didn't want to do any of this fucking social media shit. But how are you guys doing about getting your album and stuff out and like Spotify? Like, do you guys like do that kind of shit?
I feel the exact same way. I hate doing all the social media stuff.
Yeah.
We do it because we have to.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
We started a TikTok a few months ago.
I saw that.
We got an Instagram. We got we got Twitter. We blast as much as we can on everything and hope that we're not annoying people.
No. You know, that's the beauty of it though, is that you think that you're like I do the same thing where I'm like, oh my God, like, because they tell you, post every day, all these dumb fucking tricks that like 99% of it is luck if your shit hits, and then the rest is people making a living out of telling you the 5 steps to go viral. So that's it. But it's a pain in the ass. But like I always think about like, this is gonna get annoying or whatever, but people are scrolling so fast by shit and liking it, and like they don't notice it's just you know what I mean, like constantly putting your shit out there, so you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And even like when we put out the first single a couple weeks ago, and I did my little blah 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 blast, and then like I went to work like a couple days later, and someone was like, hey, I saw your album's out, and I was like, yeah, there's like the one song is out. It's like, you're exactly right. Everyone's just kind of like scrolling through it and not really paying attention.
Oh my God, it's so great, dude. I had a friend who, she's kind of like, I've known her for a while, but she's like extra woke, and she's only gotten like woker as the years have gone by, which is fine or whatever. But it's kind of funny. So she messages me the other day. And I she's known me for so long. She knows I'm not even remotely like this, but it's just kind of funny because I had, I think it was when I posted about Ed Begley Jr., right? So that, there was like an old white guy's face on the fucking, post or whatever. And she sends me a message and she's like, just a heads up, like it's not on trend right now to post, to constantly have like old white men as guests, talk about whatever. And I was like, I was like, oh my, but I loved it because I was like, oh, she clearly doesn't watch this. like, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing where like, she's scrolling by real quick. Like this caught her eye. She was in a bad mood. She thought she'd take it out of me. And I think I just screenshot every female person of color. Like at this point we've had like 50 something episodes come out. Yeah. So I was just like, oh, but we've got these boom, 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 boom. And then she was like, okay, I feel like kind of an asshole. And I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine.
I mean, I saw that and I was like, holy shit, you guys got Ed Begley Jr. That's awesome.
I know. How do you not like think that's not your first thing? It's like, no one wants to hear from. But I'm like, but it's Ed. I was
like, no, I wanted to hear from Ed Begley Jr. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, but it's that same thing where like people so rarely notice like what you're doing anyway. So the first thing that catches their eye is going to be something they either love or they fucking hate.
Yeah. And I'd be like, go back and watch the video.
Hates a new album.
Hopefully not. That first song is fucking great that you released though too. You're gonna keep doing that, trickling them out, or you're gonna pop up the
yeah, we have another one out on Monday, but then the full album's out next Friday. So it's all happening.
Do you also, I feel like people don't say that sincerely enough. It's all happening. Wait, what? They're not even gonna. We were talking about, what did I say?
Oh yeah,
living the dream. No one ever says that sincerely. It's all happening and living the dream. I feel like get said in the same monotone. Living the dream. It's all happening. It's gonna be great. So what's your I mean, you say the band argue. You guys shit on each other and stuff like that. Do you each have different personal goals for like music? I'm gonna keep going back to you guys shitting on each other. Now I want to just see this chat. But like, do you each have different personal goals for like the band? And because like I was thinking, like, do you want to, you planning your first late night or like who you want to get on or what the single's going to be? Like, is there any kind of that arguing going on where you're like, this is what we want to be the hit that we release, or like, this is the show we want to go for?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't know everyone else's goals.
I love that. You're like, I don't personally know or care.
And if I drop that question in the chat, I would just get horrific responses.
Oh god, I kind of want you to do that, and then we'll time it and see how long it takes for one of them to just throw up like a I don't know, like a finger emoji or fuck you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to. I don't know. I'd love to be able to make a living making.
Oh
music.
yeah.
It's
Solid
it's like
goal.
It's not. Yeah. I do a lot of odd jobs, and I include being a musician as one of those.
Yeah.
And it'd be great if that was just the one odd job that I had, but I don't know. It's like when it comes down to it, I just want to make music that I enjoy listening to, and I don't feel, embarrassed to tell people to listen to. That I'm just like, hey, I want you to hear this because I'm proud of it. I know that's like a cheesy goal, but as I get older, I'm more just like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I just want to make something cool and show it to my friends.
I totally know what you mean, dude. That's why, I feel like I said, we're on the same page sometimes too, especially like after the pandemic. I feel like people's priorities changed, my priorities changed. Like, I no longer really, because everything kind of got busted down, like as far as like the hierarchies and the walls and shit. I no longer feel like I want to do like a Netflix spec, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I gotta get that thing out there. I'm really just like, I know how they get it out there, and some of them there's like 400 of them now, and it's just different priorities. It's just weird. And now I'm just like, I just want to be able to fucking make a living and tell jokes. Kind of what I wanted to do when I first started, where I just thought it would be cool to go and do shit. And then somehow it came back full circle where I'm like, yeah, I think I just want to fucking tell jokes and make a shit ton of money and then not have to worry about anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we got into it. So that's, you like, anytime I feel like I've written songs before where I'm like, this is going to be the hit. Like, it's got to be like so poppy and like so like produced this way. And then like when I listen back to those now, I'm like, it's not that good. Or like you can tell you're like heart isn't in it or whatever. Yeah, you're trying too hard.
Yeah. And your soul just kind of gets sucked out from that kind of shit because you're like, oh, I don't know who the fuck I was trying to pretend to be, but this isn't it.
Yeah.
And it
didn't turn out to be a massive hit or anything, obviously.
Right? It's not even fucking worth it. You're like, I sold my soul and I got jack. Like, I didn't even get the likes I wanted. Fucking terrible. That's cool though, man. I think that, that's a good attitude to have, because I think when you have that attitude, that's when shit kind of winds up happening. Like whatever you don't like the fact, like you're gonna put something out and you're gonna be like, really, that's the one that went viral.
I mean, even like to come back to that podcast theme for Blank Check, like that's by far the piece of music I've written that the most people have heard. Yeah. And it was like done again and in like an hour at my parents' place. And so you don't know what's going to be the thing that connects with people.
Are you good at like picking out when people have made something that is like, oh, this is just for pure marketing purposes? Like watching another band, you're like, they hate this song. They fucking hate it.
You can definitely tell when depending on like who's producing it or like, oh, like there are 10 songwriters on your song now. And you can like with local bands too, you can tell there's like people trying to do a certain sound or a certain aesthetic. Like, the photos you posted before the pandemic, you didn't dress like that or sound like that. Interesting,
Yeah, that's a good point too, man. I never thought to look at like clothing style and all that other shit too, where people are just more like who they are now. So you
and it could be a positive thing too. I mean, I'm sure people after the pandemic are like, I can just be myself now, but I've seen some more cynical changes recently.
Oh God, I know. I'm afraid what we're gonna morph into during the next shutdown. like it's upsetting to think that I'm like, oh, now it's kind of okay. And like, I don't know what I'm gonna look like after another shutdown.
The hair's just going to keep going. The beard's going to keep going.
I'm just going to slowly lose clothing. I'm just going to be like on the welcome to my podcast. That's fucking brutal. I just scared myself. So are you guys doing any live gigs recently?
Yeah, we did one last month, our first one back. And then we have the release show August 28th, the day after the record comes out at the Knitting Factory.
Nice.
And we're going to have cassettes.
Oh, that's
so I'm very excited.
Yeah. It's so weird, dude. I just bought a Bluetooth old school stereo, like a silver fucking stereo. It's the weird, but I like fell in love with it. And it's got a cassette player. I'm going to have to get the cassette because I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I lost all the cassettes that I had in Sandy, like, unfortunately. And then, like, all the cassettes. But, like, the cassettes I had from when I was younger.
Right.
Like, I wasn't still collecting them. But that's awesome because I was like, what the fuck am I going to play on the cassette player? But it's a sweet, like, stereo. It's Bluetooth, and you can pop a USB in there, and it plays the radio and the... This is the ad that we're doing during the show. And it's got a... made by... yeah, it was pretty sweet, man. I'm going to have to grab a cassette.
Yeah, there's a crazy vinyl shortage right now in the music industry where like every release for records is pushed like way back. So it's like cassettes are easy to do and cheap, and we have a physical product.
Why is there a vinyl shortage? I didn't know that.
It's like it's a whole COVID thing, and like the only things that are getting pressed right now are like high priority major album releases, and everything else is just like way delayed. So.
Wow.
So that's a fun thing that's happening, and people are talking about bringing CDs back now too. So,
really,
yeah.
I don't think I just went to the Princeton record store the other day, and they have like a fucking wall of CDs, and I was literally looking at them like, Hootie, have it. Green Day, have it. Alanis Morissette, have it. I have it. You know what? One cassette I used to. Do you remember? You know the band Dokken?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay, good, because nobody else fucking does. But that was my first cassette when I was like 5, and I fucking I'm so bummed that that's gone. But like, I just recently started following them on Instagram, and I was like, I wonder if they would want to. I don't know if they're doing anything, but I fucking used to.
Yeah.
Could you imagine like a 5-year-old rocking out to Dokken back for no reason? Like everyone else is like listening to Kids Bop, and I'm just like, yeah, that was pretty great.
It explains why you're the way you are.
It really does. It kind of crystallizes it in a way. That's cool. You're going back out to do some shit before the world ends again.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can hit the road, but
you should just do it in one, like, before it's too late. Like, I don't know if you're working at another job right now, but quit. Your mother's gonna kill me. Quit, leave it immediately, and just.
She just woke up from wherever she was and was like, "What?"
I have to kill Poveromo and save Layne. That's hilarious. Do you ever go out with your like your parents on the road and shit like that? Like, do they come to your gigs or no?
Oh, they come to my gigs. They love to see us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we've played shows where they're the only two in the crowd. Not in a while though. That was
right
in the old days, but
you got more credit.
Yeah, and I if especially after the pandemic, like I want to travel more. So I'd love to, like, if mom has a weekend gig at a place that seems like a fun way to get away, like if she'll have me, I'd definitely love to do that more.
Yeah, dude, you should. What's like your dream city to perform in?
I don't like. I would love to have a big homecoming gig in Vegas at some point.
Oh,
like
that'd be epic.
That'd be nice. I've never played in Chicago either. Chicago would be fun. Everywhere on the East Coast, I think I've played otherwise. Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah. Chicago is a fun place to play. I don't know why, but the audiences out there are pretty. I think they're just happy to be indoors and not getting shot at. But like, if they're really like, oh, this is a safe space. So they think. But that was, again, dark. I don't know what's going on.
I'm bringing this side out. Yeah.
You really are. I'm like, what is happening to me right now? Layne's just like drawing energy out of me.
Yes.
We were talking a little bit. You are kind of artsy though, right? Like you do draw a little bit.
Say what?
You do draw a little bit?
Oh no, I can't draw at all.
I thought you designed. I swear to God, I thought you told me design. Maybe I'm thinking no. I thought you designed one of the album covers.
No, we used to, but we had a friend draw all those, and I can't do it at all. I'm terrible.
Wow. All right. Well, fuck me. Now we're definitely gonna cut that out. I had. Do you know the band The Wind and the Wave?
No. Who are they?
They're a great band. They're a duo. Patty Lynn is the lead singer, and Dwight, I don't know his last name, but I think she just calls him Dwight. Is like her, like she writes music. I don't know. It's probably Dwight something, but whatever. He didn't come on the show, so I don't really care. It's just Patty. He was sick. It's fine. They're a great band. I saw them open for Blues Traveler. Again, I only go to see 90s bands.
Oh, nice.
You're gonna be the first modern band I come to see because I'm just like Blues. I saw Hootie and Bare Naked Ladies like a year ago.
Yeah.
Oh, they were fucking phenomenal, dude. In New York, they were amazing. She was on or whatever. And at one point, I was like, "So you got a new album coming out?" And she goes, "No." I go, "Oh no, but you just released a new song, right?" And she's like, "No, again." And I was like, I did not do any research for this. like it just got to a point where I was like, "Really? Are you sure you didn't release something?" And she was like, "I think I'd know." It's like,
is it true? Is it true your bandmate used to have a beet farm? No, that is not true at all.
I know, that's not it at all. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Oh, that's fucking awesome, dude. Well, listen, I've kept you for an hour. I got to ask you the same question that we ask everybody. And how old are you now?
29.
29. I was going to say you're either 30 or 29. I can't remember. Perfect. This is going to be an important question.
If you can go back to the 10-year-old you backstage at the Everclear concert, what advice would you give him for his future life? What would you say?
Don't get into the music industry.
No, this is it actually keeps up with the dark theme. I was like, this is supposed to be inspiring. He's like, get out.
Oh, you want something inspiring?
No. It's got to be true to you, dude. Whatever you would tell your younger self, something that'll help you out today.
Yeah.
Even if it's like lock your door before masturbating when your mother's home.
She has never walked in on me. That's probably too much information, but
no, it's not
yet.
Hey, somehow we fully
yet.
Yeah, if I move back in, we'll see what happens.
Nothing is TMI if you've seen that Showtime special. Nothing is TMI. So that's why I was like, I feel like she would have done that.
No, but my best friend in high school did walk in on me getting my first ever hand job, which he loves to tell people.
That's a sweet moment, though. That's a nice.
Yeah, it was nice. Ultimately,
did he back out slowly, or was he like, "You're doing it wrong"?
He did the kind of like, "Oh shit," and then like we came out of the room like a couple minutes later, and he was like,
That is so fucking great. That'd be a great way to like lead into a blowjob, though. You know what I mean? Like if you had your best friend like walk in on you, and he's like, "You feel that little thing in your arm making it tired?" That's God's way of telling you to use your mouth. Something subtle, you know. But that's cool.
Yeah, I didn't have those moves. I still don't have those moves. But definitely not when I was 15.
That's fantastic. No.
That was still when you were like, "Oh my God, what is happening? Oh my God." Oh.
Yeah, right? I know, dude. It's so sad. They don't tell you that when you get older, you just don't care. Because when you're younger, you're like, this is going to be great forever. And then you're just like, I guess this is fun.
That's what I would tell my 10-year-old self. I'd be like, enjoy every hand job.
Yes. Enjoy every.
That's good advice.
That is a great message. I'm not even enjoy every hand job.
That's I mean, that's like episode.
That. Reading Rainbow. Oh, that's great. Yeah, there was one. I had a freshman year of college. It was at my girlfriend's dorm room, and we were boning, and her roommate walked in, and like it was one of those things where like obviously doggy style, because why not? And then like she like walked in, and I just kind of like turned, and then she turned, and she was like hammered anyways. She just walked in and got whatever she needed, and I was just like, I'm just gonna keep going. Is that all right, or should we? I don't know.
I was gonna say, did you lock eyes?
Yeah, I mean, I did, because like when the door opened, I was just like, like
he's like, I did. Like she kept fighting and he kept moving in front of.
Yeah. I was like, no, not exactly.
Here's a question for you, John.
Shoot.
You know, on the road with my mom, has she ever walked in on you masturbating?
He's like, yup. You're trying to connect again.
I tried. I even broke into her room to do it. I remember my first time on the road with your mom. It was I should really phrase that better, but bad segue. No, but we were in a really shitty. We were in the Bananas in Poughkeepsie. Did she ever take you to that one?
No, but just based on name and location, I can imagine.
Based on name and location would be a great name for a comedy book. Just about the places that you've had.
That is a good, yeah.
Look at you. You're fucking great with the names, dude. I'm coming to you for my album.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just could you play on it or something?
Sure.
But yeah, we stayed in this really fucking garbage. Like the hotel that we were in Poughkeepsie was just absolutely garbage, and I remember us just bitching about it the whole time. But she was super fucking cool, and she made me feel like just a regular. Because I was like, I think I was still 21 or so. I started when I was 20, so like I was just 21 or whatever. And but yeah, she was fucking awesome to work with every time. Never walked in on me though. That was a bummer. Missed out.
There's still time.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, like, we're still two on the road. That's amazing. So what do you got going on next? What do you got coming up? Oh yeah, you plug your we're gonna plug the link in the website and stuff, but do you have any websites you want us to go to? Instagram handle? Plug your
yeah, it's the Instagram is just at The Great American Novel. It's The Great American Novel Bandcamp. Nice. The Twitter is Twitter's The GAN Band, because The Great American Novel is too long for Twitter for whatever reason.
I did notice that.
Yeah, there maybe is a better way to do it, but that's just what we've had for a while now.
It's unique.
And then TikTok.
I feel like that's the best.
It's also just Great American Novel, I think.
And then there's TikTok. That's fucking sick, dude. Well, thanks so much for coming on, and
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, you were so much fun to talk to you, and now we'll hopefully get to see each other again in person one day, and hang out or whatever. That'd be great.
Really great.
All right, cool, dude. Well, I'll see you soon, and good luck with the album, and we'll plug everything and get this out next week.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Such a pleasure, man.
Tell your mom I said hi. Tell your dad I said hi.
Of course.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Dystopia tonight.